Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. Today is Sunday, October 26th. And good morning, Monique Robinson. Hello to all. Hello to you as well. Welcome. My name is Angela. I am a software engineer and front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we practice HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're all vanilla all the time because we love practicing the basics. So if you're into that kind of thing, you're in the right place. Here's another thing that I want to start doing more of, and today is going to be kind of like a DevOps day, because what is the point of being a front-end developer if you can't see your work in the browser? Like on a real domain name, DNS settings, learning how to manage a LAMP server. I think it is one of the most important skills in front-end development that is widely overlooked right now because of the one-click deployments that we have, which those things are not bad. But when you work at an organization and you're part of a team, wouldn't you like to be part of the conversations around deployment? Not every team is going to have dedicated DevOps and cloud software engineers. Be a part of the conversation. Be a part of the conversations around best practices for deployment, things like that. I encourage every front-end developer out there, understand the basics of managing a cloud server and your DNS settings and how to get that stuff up and running. And that's what we're going to cover today. So that felt like it was a little all over the place, but it's just how I'm feeling. So Monique Robinson is also here, also a mod in the chat. Monique and Monique, not related, just a coincidence, but we love them. So do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and do so. It helps the algorithm, helps me push this out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, I would love to have you. I'm here every weekend, Saturday and Sunday for the most part, streaming these project-based builds where we're just building HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript just to practice and get better and improve our skills. That's what we're doing. So here's the plan for today. It's pretty much a full... I don't think that the deployment's going to take that long. I've spent a lot of time writing out the instructions. And let me put this repository, this link to the repo, in the chat, because I don't think I have it in the description. These are all of the instructions that I've written out on how to set up a server, and we are going to be using DigitalOcean. I've been using DigitalOcean for a decade, like literally exactly 10 years ago I started using it. I had a client who was on DigitalOcean, and he wanted me to deploy all of his stuff to his server, and that's how I started learning to use a cloud server. And it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. It really got me comfortable with the command line and using the terminal, and it just helped me to develop a good understanding of Linux and Apache and how to manage a server. And it's incredibly powerful as developers, I think, when you know how to do this. So I spent the last couple of days writing, documenting the entire process of setting up a server. And we are going to be using the DigitalOcean. Let me get down here. I've got some links down here at the bottom. The LAMP one-click install on DigitalOcean. I've also included tons of links to other DigitalOcean tutorials that I have found helpful over the years. But DigitalOcean, in my opinion, doesn't have one tutorial that walks you through all the steps that I am going to go through today. So that's what we're going to do today. And I built this repository, this coming soon repository is for this landing page. So as soon as we get the server set up, we are going to deploy this landing page. Then we're going to come back over to the site that we've been working on for the last 4 weeks, and we're going to do some last minute QA, just a few last minute things that we didn't get to yesterday. And then we're going to deploy this again. So we're going to deploy the coming soon landing page first, then we'll come back here and we'll tidy up what we didn't get done yesterday, and we will deploy this. I don't think this is going to take that long, but those are like famous last words, right? Every time I think something's going to take 10 or 15 minutes, it takes 3 hours. So we'll see how it goes. I also really am hoping that what we do today, I can edit as a standalone video and release this week. So either this is going to be a dry run where I find out that I have to fix a bunch of mistakes, or it will go perfectly and I can release this like tomorrow as a standalone video. So that's that. So are we ready? Are we ready to get started? All of this starts in DigitalOcean. So if you haven't signed up for DigitalOcean, I highly recommend that you do so. In fact, I have a link. I should have put it in the chat. It is an affiliate link. I'm not gonna lie. If you go to the footer of my website and you use my affiliate link, I think you'll get something like 2 months free on DigitalOcean. I do also get credit towards additional free months if you use my affiliate link. You don't have to, but I think if you use the affiliate link, you get a couple months free. So it doesn't cost you anything to use my link if you are inclined to do so. So once you sign up for DigitalOcean and log in, I highly recommend that you create a new project. In fact, I think you are required to create at least one project. I have several projects. I created a project called Fiber and Craft. And let me see here. Let's go here. I created a project called Fiber and Craft, and to get started, I'm going to go to create a droplet. And the first thing it wants you to do is choose a region. And if you see a cost down here at the bottom of the screen, don't worry about this because we're going to make we're not spending $32 a month on this droplet, trust me. So I live in Minnesota. I'm in the Midwest, which is smack dab in the middle of San Francisco and New York. I am going to choose a New York data center. So based on where you are on the East Coast or the West Coast or anywhere in the world, choose a data center that's close to you. Oh, I could probably choose Atlanta. Now I'm going to stick with New York. I pretty much stick with New York. So, and then I'm going to go to choose an image. We're going to go to the marketplace. And we're going to choose the LAMP on Ubuntu 24.04. So you want the LAMP one-click install. Add a worry-free managed database. No, because this is a static website. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to do a shared CPU, a basic. So they have dedicated CPUs. I'm going to do a shared. I'm also going to do a regular SSD. I'm not going to do premium Intel or premium AMD. I'm just going to do a regular disk. And I'm going to choose the $6 a month, 1 gig CPU, 25 gigs of SSD disk space, and 1,000 gigs transfer. This is plenty for a static website. That's all this is. In fact, I would feel comfortable putting 3 or 4 or 5 static websites on this little droplet right here. That's all you need. Additional storage, add volume. No, I'm not going to choose this because I don't anticipate needing additional storage space. Enable automatic backup plan. So I'm not going to choose this. I do choose this for my client sites because I do want backups, obviously, for client sites. I mean, it's really, I have many backup plans for my client sites. This is one of many redundancies. For this, I'm not going to choose a backup because it doesn't have a back end or a database. And as far as I'm concerned, my backup is my Git repository. So I'm not going to choose backups, but you can decide for yourself. And then we want to choose SSH key, not password. I highly recommend that you use an SSH key to log into your server. I have 3 SSH keys already as a part of my DigitalOcean account. If you need to create an SSH key, I did include I did include, where is it here? A link how to create SSH keys with OpenSSH on Mac or Linux. I'm on a Mac, so I followed these instructions to create an SSH key. But if you click new SSH key, it will give you some instructions here on the right on how to do it. And then you would copy and paste in the public key pair in here. So I'm not going to walk through that process because again, I'm on a Mac. So if you need an SSH key, I want you to Google it. I want you to follow these instructions and go through that process. If you've gotten this far in your career, you can handle this. So I'm going to select all of my SSH keys that I want added to this server. Improved metrics, monitoring, and alerting, free. Sure, if it's free, yes. And then I'm going to give a new host name to this. I'm just going to call it Fiber and Craft, just like that. And then here's where if you have multiple projects, you add it to the project that you want. And of course, I'm adding it to the Fiber and Craft project. And it tells me here how much this is going to cost, $6 a month, a bargain. I mean, if you are sticking with like a GoDaddy shared hosting because you think it's cheaper than a cloud server, you don't know really what you can do with the cloud server and how truly inexpensive this is and how much better it is than shared hosting. So, and now we're going to create our droplet. So this is where, you know, live streaming is potentially risky because the IP address is going to be exposed. There's no way for me to not expose that, but also IP addresses are never private. So anybody who wants to find the IP address can find it. We are going to log in using the IP address, I think once or twice. And then we're going to update our DNS settings so we can log in using the domain name. So now we have our droplet. The space has been created. This is our IP address. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is set up our DNS settings. So I use hover.com for all of my domain names. We have the domain name Fiber and Craft, and there's two ways to point a domain name to a server. You can use name servers, or you can just update the DNS settings directly. We are going to update the DNS settings directly. So I'm going to click on DNS. These are all of the default DNS settings that Hover gives to a domain name. So I did not type these in here. These are the default. So we've got two A records, one for the root and one as a wildcard. And then we've got MX records, which are for email. I'm going to delete all of these. We don't need these. We're going to delete them. And we're going to make our own. Because I don't use this domain name for email, that's why I'm deleting the MX records. If you are using a domain name for email and you have other things set up on your DNS, obviously don't delete these things. But for me, this domain is not being used for anything else. So now we're going to add two records. We're going to add an A record and a C name record. So we'll do an A name first. The host name is the @ and this is our IP address. And then we have a TTL of 15 minutes. So we'll go ahead and add this A record. Then we're going to add a C name. And that's www. And we're going to type in the domain name. That's the target or the value. And again, we have a TTL of 15 minutes. And that's all we need to do for our DNS settings. Now, in my experience, DNS settings propagate pretty quick, usually within maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Well, literally it says here TTL 15 minutes. It can take 24 to 48 hours, so don't be alarmed if that happens. Let me tell you a situation where that has happened to me, where it most commonly happens to me. I live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is a large metropolitan area, and our internet service providers here regularly flush the cache of their DNS settings. I had a client who had a cabin up north during COVID, and I did an upgrade to his server and spun up a new droplet. And it took a full weekend for his little ISP up in the woods, in the boonies of northern Minnesota, to flush the cache and update the DNS. But his business partner here in the Twin Cities, his ISP and my ISP had immediately flushed the cache, and the DNS settings were up to date. So part of it depends on your internet service provider and your location. But I think in most situations, especially in large metropolitan areas, the DNS is going to propagate pretty quickly and update. So that's just, I don't have any hard and fast rules for you. That's just my experience on dealing with DNS. Yeah, okay, so let's get back to it here. So we've updated now our DNS settings. This is all we need to do. So now, and let's make a note of this. Just going to note it down in my records here. One moment. Okay. So I have that written down. Now the fun part. So we're going to log into our server, and we are just going to follow these steps. We're going to follow these steps together. And I have 2 tabs in my terminal open. We need one local, and we're going to have one remote. So we're going to SSH. And yes, we are logging in as root the first couple of times. And you're always going to get this message the first time you log in. The authenticity of host can't be established. This key is not known by any other names. Continue. Yes. There we go. We are now logged into the server. So this is like a welcome screen right here. And anytime you set up a new server, you're getting a snapshot. And you're almost always going to see here that updates need to be applied. The first thing you should do when you log into a new server is update and upgrade. So we're going to run this right here, apt update and apt upgrade -y, which is a yes flag. So I'm just going to, hopefully you can see that down at the bottom of the screen. There we go. So this will take a moment. And we'll just let it do its thing. Nice. Malik, I would love to see you do this and go through the process just to get the full experience of deploying something with an actual domain name. So oh, this is actually a good idea. Yeah, I can move this over to the right. Hang on. We'll do this now while it's it's not a bad idea. Hang on. I think I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to be facing in the wrong direction. So I'll be looking away, but let me see here. One moment. Hang on. Oh, do not despair. Let me flip this. Okay, so now I'll be looking in this direction. So I don't like I can't stand it when I see streamers who have their back to what they're demonstrating. So, okay. Good call, Malik. So this is normal now, what we're seeing. It's this always happens at least once, and it's going to default pretty much to the version that most people choose, which is keep the local version currently installed. So I'm just going to hit tab. Hang on. Just going to hit tab, which keeps this selected, and then hit OK, and this will continue. Oh, and I think that I have something over top of me here. There. There's a watermark down in the corner. Okay. And you can see here, look what happened. It automatically, our DNS settings updated, and it automatically changed it to root at Fiber and Craft. So that's how we know that our DNS settings are working. So what's the next thing on the list here? It says optional reboot if kernel updates were installed. I always reboot. So I'm going to type in reboot, and we're going to reboot the server. So it says here connection 2 is closed. I'm going to hit clear. And we'll just give this a moment to reboot. And we'll see if we can log in yet. So SSH root at Fiber and Craft. Don't I have to do fiberandcraft.com? Yes. It doesn't like that I did that. So we're just going to go with the IP address. Okay, so now all of our updates are done. Yay. This gives you a little dashboard of everything that's going on the server. So we're using 12% of 23.17 gigs. Users logged in, it says 0, even though we're logged in. And yes, the other thing that it always gives you here is it's called the message of the day. And if we look down here at the bottom, it says to delete this message of the day, run this. So I'm going to run this to delete it. We don't need this. I don't need this. Okay. So we need to, it's even though we're, we'll get to this part here. Okay. And now we've reconnected. So we're going to check what's installed. We did a LAMP stack, so it's Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So we're just going to double check and make sure that everything is installed. Yes. MySQL. Yep. PHP. Yep. And then we're going to check the system status of Apache. System CTL status Apache 2. And we're just checking to see that we have green. Everything's running. So, and then quit to end. Beautiful. Okay, next we want to check the firewall status. So we're going to do, this is sudo. We haven't done the sudo user yet, but we're going to do UFW status. UFW stands for uncomplicated firewall. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. And it's already installed on a one-click LAMP stack, but we're just going to check it and make sure that it's running. Yes. So port 22 limit, Apache full allow, 22 limit, Apache full allow. I don't 100% know what this means, but I know that this is what we want to see. And it even says here, allow a, no, I'm not doing anything else here. It just said if inactive, do these things. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything else here. Okay. So now we're going to create non-root sudo user. We want to make sure that we are not always logging in as the root user and that you're creating unique usernames to log into your server. So I'm just going to create add user Angela. And then user mod ag sudo Angela. Oh, it wants me to do a password. And then verify it. And then I'm going to enter past these things. It asks for full name, room number, work phone, home phone, other. Yes. So now we have a new sudo user. The next thing we need to do, in order to log in as a sudo user, we have to copy the SSH keys from root to that sudo user. So first we're going to make an SSH directory for the user Angela. Then we are going to copy the keys from root to Angela. And when you follow these instructions, you would obviously have your own unique name and you would update these to reflect that. And then we're going to change the ownership and the read, write, execute permissions for those SSH keys. And I know you can probably do these all at the same time. I do them one at a time because that's just how I like to do it. Okay. So now we've updated the SSH keys to make sure that the sudo user Angela can use those SSH keys, because next we are going to disable root login with SSH. So nano is like there are different types of editors in the terminal. There's Vim. I use nano. So we're going to nano into Apache and the SSH directory and the SSH config. So we're not going to expose the keys. We're just going to update the config. So we'll put this in here and you're going to see an editor pop up. So we're looking for two things: permit root login, no, and password authentication, no. So we're just going to slowly go down. Here's permit root login. Right now it's set to yes. So we're going to change this to no. And now we're looking for password authentication. And it's right here. So right now it's commented out. So we're going to enable password authentication and we're going to change this to no. That means that you cannot use root or a password to log into the server. And then I do Control X, yes, and enter to save that file. And then we are going to systemctl reload SSH. Well, and I'm not using the sudo user yet, so I'm just going to systemctl. We're going to reload SSH. Just like that. Okay, and we've already pointed our domain. So now I'm actually going to log out, and now I'm going to log in as this user. Let me clear. And I'm just going to say log out. And we're going to SSH. Oh, and you know what though? We haven't actually added this domain name yet to. We need to add this domain name to DigitalOcean but we should be able to SSH in as the name, as the host name, because we gave the host name Fiber and Craft, right? So SSH Angela at Fiber and Craft, not .com, not .com. This is the host name of the server. Could not resolve. Oh, it's not letting. Okay, let's add our DNS. I'm pretty sure that's the step I'm missing here. I need to reorder my steps a little bit. So, and let's answer a couple of questions. I don't want to go too long without answering questions. So, okay, good. You can see the full terminal. Good, good, good. Salman Khan is here. Hello, welcome. And Malik says, do you have to have Nano downloaded or is it already provided? It's part of the install. So Nano will also already be part of the install. I think you can use Vim or Nano. They're both there. I tend to use Nano. So, okay. So now we do need to add our, so here's the droplet right here. And the host name is Fiber and Craft. I think we need to, if we log in with the IP address, the terminal shows Fiber and Craft as the host name, but we do want to be able to log in with the DNS, but we have to do, in order to do that, we have to add the DNS to DigitalOcean. So we come down here to manage DNS. And 1 second. So I added fiberandcraft.com and it already has name servers for DigitalOcean. So you don't want to delete these. Just leave whatever DigitalOcean adds. And then we're going to, and this is telling you here, you need to update your name servers with your domain register for the records to take effect. We can delete that. So we're going to create now an A record and a C name. So we're going to do an A record and we'll direct to Fiber and Craft. TTL is 3600. And then we're going to do a C name, which is www with an alias of Fiber and Craft.com. And I'm going to change the TTL to 3600. Just like that. So these are the only two things that we are adding to the domain. And this should go pretty quick because the DNS settings have already propagated. Really, the DNS settings that we are worried about propagating are over here at Hover. Once they're propagated and you add them to DigitalOcean, it should be fine. So now we've added our domain. And come back here. Okay, can we finally reconnect as the new user? Did I do this in the right order? Warning. Remote host identification has changed. It is possible that someone is doing something nasty. It is also possible that a host key has just been changed. The fingerprint is, please correct. Okay, so either host key for fiberandcraft.com has changed and you have requested strict checking. Let's see here. So either I should not be doing this in a live stream, or it just is not working with this. But I think we can still log in with our IP address. Yeah. SSH. All right, well, I'm going to have to troubleshoot this. I don't know why logging in with the domain name isn't working if the DNS has propagated. I'm going to reboot. Call to reboot interactive authentication. Oh, sudo. Well, let's see if something nefarious happened. I feel like something nefarious happened, and perhaps I shouldn't be doing this in a live stream. Groups. Yeah. Well, let's just keep going. There's nothing on this server, so it doesn't matter to me if something got compromised. Let's just keep going and troubleshoot this. So we are able to log in. Oh, log out. Let's go ahead and do this, which is adding Angela to this www data group. Hang on. Did I miss a step? I must have missed a step. I don't think so. We did all these steps. Angela is not in the sudoers file. Okay, let me see here. Let's ask ChatGPT what's going on. Oh, I created the user but didn't grant them sudo privileges before logging in as them. You're logged in as Angela, but Angela isn't in the sudo group yet, so you can't run any privileged commands, including user mod. Okay. Oh, I already disabled root though. Hang on. From your local terminal, I'll show this to you. This is good that we're doing this. These mistakes are all good, because this is how you learn. This is how you learn. So I already disabled root though, so I don't know if I can log back in as root. But we did this. User mod ag sudo Angela. We did this. Didn't we? I thought I did that, but maybe I didn't. I already disabled root login. Okay, totally fixable. Here's how to recover safely without destroying the droplet. You'll just need console access from the DigitalOcean dashboard, since that bypasses SSH restrictions. Let's see here, what's the other option? So we have to use the DigitalOcean console. That's fine, we can do that. This is a good, I swear that I did that. Oh, Malik is saying, no, you got distracted by setting up the password and other things and skipped it. Oh, thank you, Malik. Okay, hang on one second. Thank you. Thank you, Malik, for keeping track of that, because that makes me feel like I'm not crazy, because I thought I did that. So, okay, that's cool. We got this. We totally got this. Go to your Droplet dashboard. Click Access Launch Recovery Console or Console tab at the top. You'll get a web terminal. I've had to do this before. So we're going to go back to our project. Droplet dashboard, click Access Launch Recovery Console. Access console. Launch Droplet console. Oh yeah, I've had to do this before. Okay, so we did a really good job of locking things down. Okay, I'm not panicking. Here's exactly what to do. Option 1, reset root access, easiest, no data lost. In your Droplet dashboard, go to Access Reset Root Password. DigitalOcean will email you a temporary root password. Use the recovery console, not SSH. You know what I think I'm going to do? We're going to start over. We're going to start over because we are early enough in the process. And we got time. We got plenty of time. And this happens all the time. And here's the other reason we're going to start over. The first thing that I learned when I was doing my DevOps class for my software engineering degree was treat your servers like cattle, not like pets. And in a place like DigitalOcean, where you can spin up quickly and easily new servers, just do it. Just do it. So let's see here. So I'm going to delete the domain. No, we can leave the domain because we can just update that later. So we are going to destroy this droplet and start over. We haven't deployed anything anyways, so it's completely fine. All right. New droplet. And we know exactly what we missed, the step that we missed last time. So I want New York and Marketplace and Lamp Stack. I'm going to do regular, $6 a month. I'm not doing backups. I'm going to do all SSH keys. Yes to improved metrics and monitoring. And we'll update the host name, Fiber and Craft, just like that. And that's our project. Oh, where are we on $24 a month? $6 right there. Why does it say $24 a month? There we go. $6 a month. New York, Lamp, Basic, no additional storage, no backups, SSH keys, improved metrics monitoring. We'll rename this again. And we'll create Droplet. Okay, so now make a copy of this. And we're going to update our DNS again, but we just need to edit this A record. All right, so the propagation will start again, but it's pretty quick. So all right, and then I'm going to update that domain, but I'm going to do it off screen. So now I've updated the A record here as well for the domain. Okay. Well, second time is a charm. So while that's propagating, let's start over. We know what to do though. We're pros at this point, right? Let's just log out of this terminal and start fresh. There we go. So SSH, root, and there's our new IP address, and we say yes. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove the message of the day. The second thing I'm going to do is the upgrade and the update and the upgrade. And give me just a moment. say hello to some folks. Emilio, miss being able to watch. Don't let your appendix burst. The yogurt in the hospital is not worth it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened. But thank you for coming to say hello. I hope you're feeling better. Oh my gosh. And Melissa says, yeah, I looked back and you copied the line, then noticed it was asking for a user password. I would have done the same thing. Honest mistake. It was a good idea to do it on stream. So I hate making big mistakes, but it is good to show the mistakes because I think the biggest takeaway that I want you guys to get from this is that if you're doing a server setup and you make a mistake and something's not working, destroy it and start over. There's literally nothing on it. You have nothing to lose. It's okay. Just nuke it and start fresh. It's completely fine. So it's okay. I am all good now. Just almost a week and a half of hospital time. Oh, oof. That's rough. Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better. Wow. Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. Surgery is rough. I had surgery this spring. I had abdominal surgery this spring. So it's tough. It's tough. So, okay. Glad you're feeling better. And here it's saying keep the low. It's giving us some options. I'm going to go with the default that it highlighted. So I'm just going to say okay. I know, we got almost 1,000 new subscribers in like 4 months. So we had, on July 1st, we had 499 subscribers. So, and now it's October 26th. So yeah, we got almost 1,000 new subscribers in 4 months. So yeah, that is pretty wild. Thank you for noticing that. I'm extremely happy with the progress of this channel. Okay. So now we did the update and the upgrade. We're just going to reboot. And we'll give it a moment, see if we can log back in yet. That's normal. It's not done rebooting yet, so. There we go. Okay, updates are applied. We did a reboot, we reconnected. Let's check what's installed. So, Apache 2 version, MySQL version, yes, PHP version, and then we're going to do a system status of Apache, and we're just checking to make sure that everything's running, and it is. Excellent. So Q to quit, and then we're going to check the firewall. I can see now what I need to update in my instructions because I have sudo here for check the firewall, but we're using root. So I have some edits to make tonight, and that is just fine. So this is all I'm checking. In fact, let's just make sure that, because ChatGPT told me to check the firewall. So, okay, I'm starting over. No biggie. Is this the correct response for uncomplicated firewall? Yes, that output is perfect. Here's what it means line by line. So port 22 is open but rate limited. That's ideal. It helps block brute force attempts. Apache full allow anywhere. Both HTTP 80 and HTTPS 443 are open. This rule comes from the UFW allow Apache full, exactly what you want for a web server. Excellent. So you have SSH secure and limited. You have web traffic. Nothing else is exposed. That's the correct firewall config for a LAMP server on DigitalOcean. Excellent. So I think I'll probably go ahead and add this to my instructions, that this is what people should expect to see and what it means. So ChatGPT has been enormously helpful in like nailing down and understanding these types of server configurations. I mean, this was doable before ChatGPT, obviously, but I've learned more about what it is that I'm actually looking at and what I'm doing because of ChatGPT. So if you are doing a server setup, and please, I encourage all of you to have this experience, you have nothing to lose. You're just practicing and deploying your own stuff. Use ChatGPT if you get stuck. It's been enormously helpful. So there's that. Okay, so now we're going to add the non-root sudo user, and we're going to complete the steps. So we're going to add user Angela, and then we have to give it a password. So giving it a password, and then I'm confirming the password, and then we're entering past these things. Yes. Okay. Now we have to add Angela to the sudo group. That is the step that we missed before. Okay. And then now we're going to, so I'm just memorializing this, that we did that step, marking this in our brains. Copy the root's authorized key to the new user so you can SSH without passwords. So we're going to make directory. We're going to make an SSH directory for the user Angela. We're going to copy the SSH keys from root to Angela. And then we're going to change the ownership and the read, write, execute permissions of the SSH directory. Just like that. Okay. Now we're going to disable root login. And we're going to turn off password authentication. And it should work. So we're looking first for permit root login right here. No. And then we're looking for password authentication, which is right here. So this is commented out. We're going to enable it and also change this to no. And then down here it says to exit Control X, save modified buffer, say yes, and then hit enter to save and exit out, just like that. Now we want to reload SSH. Well, but not sudo. I can see here where I need to update. So systemctl reload SSH, just like that. Okay. Now we've already pointed our DNS, so hopefully that's propagated, but let's log out. Clear. we should be able to log in now as the domain name. We should be able to do that. So either, find out. What does this mean? This is what happens when I try to log in as my Sudo user with the domain name. Okay, this happens because you rebuilt or replaced the droplet and your Mac is still storing the old SSH fingerprint for that domain in your known host. Okay, that's good to know because I have gone through these steps many, many times. This is not the first time I have done this. This is like the 5th time I have done this. So, SSH is just warning you that the fingerprint unique cryptographic ID of the server changed, not that you're under attack. Here's the fix. Remove the old fingerprint. Run this from your local machine. That deletes the outdated fingerprint from your known hosts file. Now SSH again. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this off camera just to make sure that it doesn't do something. I don't show something that I'm not supposed to. I don't think so. Okay, yeah, it was fine. Here's what it said. So it just said that it found host fiberandcraft.com on line 29 of this file and it updated it. So, okay. So now I'm going to add this also. I'll definitely put this in the, well, I'll think about it. Lots of good information here. So, okay, now reconnect again. Yes, so this is the message that we want. This was the message that we got when we first logged in with root. We say yes. And now we are logged in. We are logged in as our sudo user and we are able to log in with the domain name. So that means our domain name, our DNS settings have updated because we can use that. We don't need the IP address. All right, we're one step closer. Okay, here I want to show you now just how to navigate a couple of things on a LAMP stack. So in order to find the directory where your actual files will live, you will cd to var/www, and then we're going to list files, and everything's going to live inside of HTML. So now we'll cd into HTML. And if we list files again, DigitalOcean automatically puts an index.html in this folder. So if we go to the domain name fiberandcraft.com, well, we have to do it without. And we don't have SSL set up yet, so this is http www.fiberandcraft.com. This is the HTML. This is the index.html file that DigitalOcean automatically puts into this directory. So there is something in here for you to at least test the domain. Although we know the domain's working because we can log in with the domain. So let's get back to our instructions. The next thing that I want to point out here is the user and the owner should always be www-data, not root, not the name of your sudo user. It should be www-data. But in order to use rsync and move our files from our local environment to our remote environment, the user, Angela, has to have permission to make changes to something with a different owner and a different group. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to add the sudo user to the www-data group. So we're going to do sudo user mod, and when you start using sudo commands, this is the point where you have to use the word sudo in front of pretty much everything you do as a sudo user. It is periodically going to ask you for the password of the sudo user. It's only going to be once or twice though. So we're going to run this command and it's going to ask me for my password. And now we should be able to run multiple sudo commands because we've already typed in our password once. I think it's per session, but don't quote me on that. Okay, and it says here, log out and log back in for the group change to take effect. So we'll type exit. Now we're logged out, all clear, and we'll log back in again. And then confirm that it worked. Groups. And you can see here, Angela has, you should see Angela sudo www data. Got it. Now we're going to fix the permissions. The 775 gives group write access, so Angela, as part of the www data group, can update files without breaking Apache ownership. So now we're going to start using sudo commands. Again, we have a new session. We just logged back in. So we're going to change the ownership. Well, it already is www, but we're going to run this again. And we'll give it our password. And then we're going to change, this is the read write execute permissions for the HTML directory. Okay. If you want to make sure all future files keep that group, that sets the set GID bit so any new files or folders inherit. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we're going to do this too, because there are going to be new files and folders after we deploy the landing page. We're going to redeploy the actual site and there will be new files and folders. But we'll also check it. So we're not going to go in blind. So, okay. So now we're at the very exciting point where we actually rsync from our local environment to our remote environment. The server is set up and ready to go. For the most part. So now we're going to use rsync. And let me show you something that is a little more, it's going to be a little easier to see. So this is the exact README that we're going off of. Where's our rsync? So the rsync is always from your local environment to your, hang on one second here. The rsync is always from your local environment to your remote environment. So we have two tabs here and we're logged into the remote. We're going to switch to local. Now we're in local. So it's rsync. And then I use these flags, AVZ. A is for archive, Z is for compress. And there are some other things here. Progress is to show the list of files as they get deployed. Delete means that we are going to, it says here, keeps the remote in sync. I think it basically means that it deletes everything on the remote and redeploys whatever you want to push up. And then I have files here that I'm excluding. You should always exclude your Git directory. Always exclude git ignore. Exclude.github. Mac always puts this goofy file in everything called dsstore, so exclude that. I'm going to exclude the README. I'm going to exclude the license. And then this is my local path of where my files live. So it's in the users, Angela J. Holden, projects coming soon. Make sure that you have the slash to move the contents, not the directory itself, but the contents. And then the remote path is how we log in. Angela, fiberandcraft.com, var, www, html, and again, the slash. And I have a note up here that says, just a reminder that the trailing slash in your local directory path matters. So with a slash syncs the contents of that folder into the HTML folder. Without the slash, it would nest the folder and slide. So this is what we would get. We don't want that. It's not the end of the world, and trust me, you're going to make that mistake 100 times and you're going to learn how to fix it. It's just part of the process. So this is our rsync command. And I did include a link to DigitalOcean on how to build out a really good rsync. It's also a great question for ChatGPT if you have questions about your own local files and what you want to deploy. So in my local directory, we're going to put in this rsync command. I'm going to hit enter. And it deploy, I think it pretty much, rsync generator failed to set times on. I wonder if, so did it deploy? I don't think this deployed. Let's look at, yeah, it deployed. Okay, it said, why did it say some things couldn't be deployed? Some files could not be transferred. Okay, these just supposed to be like Mac files or something, because everything got moved over. So now if we go to fiberandcraft.com, this is our landing page. So everything worked. We did it. This is very anticlimactic, but we did do it. We got this deployed. Now, we're not done yet. It's not over. We need to add an SSL certificate because technically we have 4 domain names. And I think I brought this up yesterday. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here because we have a lot more to do. Technically, we have 4 domain names. We have 2 HTTP, and we are going to have 2 HTTPS. And we're going to have a root domain and we're going to have a www domain. I highly recommend that you set up DNS settings for www and you learn how to redirect from a www to the root, because lots of people think that www is a normal part of a domain name, and they will go to the browser and they will type that in. And if you don't have this set up as a redirect, they'll get an error. They'll get one of those errors like this site couldn't be shown or couldn't be resolved, or check your DNS settings, something like that. So you want to make sure that you set up a www and that you can always do a redirect from a www to the root. I personally always deploy my websites on a root domain, but I make sure I have both. So that's what we're going to do next. And if you thought that this was complicated, what we did up until this point, just wait. You haven't seen anything yet. So, okay, so this is our local environment. I'm going back to our remote environment. And you can see here also, oh, look at, I wonder if this is okay, because the owner is Angela, but the group is www data. Let's ask ChatGPT if this is okay. Is it okay that the owner I think it's owner first, group second. Yes, that's perfectly fine. Here's a breakdown of what you're seeing. Angela is the owner, your sudo user who uploaded via Rsync. www data is the group. The Apache web server process belongs to this group. Read write for owner, read only for everyone else. That means that you as Angela can edit files directly via SSH or deploy with Rsync. Apache www data can read them to serve the pages. No one else can write. Totally valid and secure for static site content. If you were running WordPress or anything that needs to write files, you'd want www data ownership instead. And that's where I get tripped up because I learned this server setup for WordPress, and I know you have to have the owner and the group be www data. So, okay, perfect. So I can include this in my instructions as well because I think that would be helpful. All right, so let's get this. Now the real party starts, people. Just wait. So we know DNS is ready, right? But we can go ahead and do this step anyways. Fiber and so, yep. So I'm going to Control C to quit that. And we're going to check that Certbot is installed. This is how we install the SSL. So we'll do Certbot version. Yes, should be automatically included with the one-click install for LAMP. So now we are going to request and install the certificate, and we are requesting certificates for the root domain and for www. We have to install both on the root and www, even if we're just doing a redirect to the root. Browsers are checking the domain on port 443 first, and if the SSL TLS handshake fails, there's no certificate, then it can't complete the redirect. Make sure you install the SSL certificate on both versions of the domain, and it is free. It's open source. So I'm going to put this in. And it's going to ask for an email address, and you should give it a valid email address because we're also going to make sure that the certificates auto renew every 90 days. And if there's a problem with the auto renewal and it can't update, you definitely want to get the email that there's a problem so you can log into the server and check it. So make sure you give it a valid domain. Whoops. As she types in the wrong email. info@angelajholden.com. Yes. So please read the terms of service. Yes. Would you be willing, once your first certificate is successful, to share your emails? Yes. Okay. So this is totally fine what it's saying now. So this certificate expires on January 24th, 2026. These files will be updated when the certificate renewed. Certbot has set up and scheduled a task to automatically renew the certificate in the background. Successfully deployed certificate for fiberandcraft.com. Yep, and this is the Apache configuration file right here. We're going to look at this in a second. We were unable to find a virtual host with a server name or address. Which virtual host would you like to choose? We're going to choose number 2. Okay. And we're going to look more at these virtual host files here in a second. But we have successfully deployed an SSL certificate. So we have HTTPS now on our domain. We want to enable SSL site if needed. So I don't usually do this, but ChatGPT recommended that I do this. Let's check and see if we need to do this. Here's how we can test this. I'm gonna, in the browser, and you know what? I'm actually gonna do this incognito. So I'm gonna type in HTTPS Fiber and Craft, no www. Yes, that works. Excellent. So we've got HTTPS. Now I'm going to test it with www. So good, it's working. But do you see now that you have 4 domain names for one landing page? That's a problem. We want one domain name for one landing page, which means we need to make sure that we can redirect the other 3 to the one that we want, our preferred. And so what are the other 2? Well, we did this once before, but I'm going to show you again. I'm going to remove the S. I'm going to remove the S. Oh, it's not going to even let me remove the S, is it? See, the browser automatically wants to go to HTTPS. See, it won't even let me remove the S. Let me see if it'll... Yeah, see, it's automatically redirecting to the S, which is good, but we still need to make sure that we're doing a redirect from the www to the root. So there. Okay, well, that's good at least. That redirect was implemented. So, all right. What's next? So we don't need to do this. This has been enabled. We're not in a redirect loop. We don't need to do this. We do want to check and make sure that the auto renewal for Certbot is running correctly. And so this says here, Certbot installs a renewal timer automatically. It checks twice per day, every 12 hours. If it's within 30 days of renewal, it renews automatically. So let's verify that the timers are up and running. And yes, we can see here that the timers are up and running. And if you want to do a renewal yourself, you can, and you can do it with the dry run. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm satisfied that everything is working. So, and then lastly, verify which domains are active. So we should see 2. Oh, yes, domains, fiberandcraft.com and then www.fiberandcraft.com. Perfect. And the certificate name is fiberandcraft.com. So, okay, so now we need to edit the Apache virtual host files. We need to do the virtual host file for port 80, which is which is just HTTP, and the virtual host file for 443, port 443, which is the HTTPS. So to get to the Apache configuration files, we're in the root right now. So if we do pwd, you can see that the root for this user is the name Angela. So I'm going to say cd ect Apache 2, and then we'll list the files here. And we're looking for, do I want to do sites available or sites enabled? Let me ask, I don't remember. Do I edit the sites available or the sites enabled? You always edit the files in the sites available, not sites enabled. Here's why. The real configuration lives here. The symbolic links are sites enabled. Got it. Okay. So now we're going to go into sites available, cd sites available, and we're going to list these files. And the default, here, let me clear. We'll do that again. The default Apache configuration file for the root virtual host of the server, the HTML, is it always gets set up as 000-default.conf. When the SSL certificate is installed, Certbot makes a copy of this and makes a copy of this. So if we nano into this configuration file, this is the port 80. Oh, and you know what? It wants me to sudo. There we go. So this is the virtual host for port 80. This is the HTTP. And we have to add the server name, the server alias, and this 301 redirect. So I'm going to type in the server name is fiberandcraft.com, and the server alias is www.fiberandcraft.com. And then we have to do a redirect 301 from root to HTTPS fiberandcraft.com. Just like that. Did I spell everything right? Fiberandcraft.com, www.fiberandcraft.com. This is for the HTML directory. Yes. And then we've got these 3 rewrite lines down at the bottom. We're going to comment these out. And that's that. So now I'm going to save this, Control X, yes, enter. Now we need to do the port 443 virtual host, and that's this one right here. So we're going to sudo, whoops, nano, just like that. Okay, so now we're on 443, and we need to add a few extra things here. So again, we're going to add our server name and our server alias, and we need to add these rewrite conditions right here. We don't have to change this. We don't have to change the error logs. We don't have to change this. And we don't have to change this. I see server name is down here at the bottom. I'm going to take that out and we'll move it up front. Move it up to the top. So this even after 10 years, this wrong spot here. Even after 10 years, this freaks me out. But this is how you do it. And I do feel I found myself in so many positions, especially at my last job, where even as just a humble little front-end developer, I was able to play a really big part in major discussions about deployment and processes and how we set up servers and troubleshooting. I was able to have a place at the table during really big discussions, and it was an opportunity for me to be a person in my organization who had like authority and credibility because I knew how to do these things. Yeah, it's so important that even front-end developers understand this part of the web and deployment and servers. Just so important. And I'm going to start making this a bigger part of my channel in 2026. So there's that. Okay. I think we're good here. I just want to look at this again. Yep. Why is this red? Okay, so our Apache virtual host files are updated now. Now we want to make sure the rewrite module is enabled and reload Apache. So we're going to do this. Module rewrite already enabled. And then we're going to reload Apache. Okay. Now we're going to test our redirects. So then you can confirm the redirect behavior later in your browser or by running these curl. So let's do these each one at a time. So we'll start with the HTTP versions. Beautiful. Look at this. HTTP 301 moved permanently, location HTTPS. God bless America. I'm telling you, this took a long time to get right this week. Okay, so here's our HTTP www location HTTPS root domain. Freaking beautiful, man. So this should not be a 301, right? This is the domain that we want. So beautiful, 200. Okay, you guys, we did it. We got one left. Sweet Jesus, please redirect correctly. Yes, we did it. You guys, we did it. Yes. Okay, so let's see if we can let's close it. Well, let's close some stuff first. This is, I'm getting a little anxiety from all the stuff that's open. We did it. We did it. I'm going to close this. We don't need this anymore. And I'm going to close this. We don't need this anymore. This is our GitHub coming soon. This is our GitHub of the project we've been working on. Do I have anything else open? Let's just close out some of this stuff too. I'm going to log out of the server. We're done here. We don't need to do anything else. This is our remote. We don't need to do anything else here either. Okay. So this is our coming soon page. I don't care about forcing the browser to look at the non-HTTPS. It's just nice sometimes when I can get it to do it. But I think the point is that the browsers are always looking for HTTPS. They're defaulting to that. And look at that. That automatically redirected too. So let's put in our www. And that redirected as well. It's working perfectly. It's working perfectly. We did it. We did it. Okay. I want to say hello to a couple of people. No one is here. No one. I know you've been here for a little bit. Hopefully you're still hanging out with us today. Welcome. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Sam is here. Hello, Sam. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you, Monique. This has been a journey to get all of this documented. It has been a journey. I've been doing it for years. But what I learned by sitting down is, so I've been doing this for years, but my notes are like spread out. They're all over the place. It's like, oh, I need to do this thing now. Where's that snippet? I need to do this thing now. Where's that snippet? So this is me like forcing myself to really sit down and come up with a process and find a way to teach it. I definitely cannot. I definitely need to re-record this after today. This is not suitable for an edited, posted video, but that's okay because I feel like we got I feel like what I did is I got the last few bugs kind of worked out here. So, part of programming life, yes. Well, I would, Malik, you in particular, no pressure, but I would love to see you. Give me an extra day to update my instructions because I do have some updates that I'm going to need to make here today. And then I would love to have you go through the process and give me feedback and find out how this went for you if you were able to get your server set up. I would love that feedback, but I also would just love to have you have the experience of deploying to a real domain name. So here's what we're going to do next. We are going to do some updates to our site. We need to do some updates to our Fiber and Craft. Here it is. I don't need that. Here is our actual site that we've been working on. So let's get this deployed and then let's do a little bit of extra QA here on this site. And then we're going to deploy it again. And I just want to show you what this process really looks like. So give me a moment here to pull up those files because I don't have them. Our netpix clone. Okay, so here's our files that we've been working on for the last 4 weeks. We just have some like little CSS-y things to do. But first, let's go ahead and deploy this. But I am going to add a meta tag. So I'm going to do meta. Do we really not have name? So we're going to do meta name robots content no index no follow. And that is just so Google doesn't come through and crawl the site and index it. So you know, if you are working on a new site or a new project and you don't want it to get indexed yet in Google, just go ahead and put in a meta tag saying no index, no follow. Google is very clear about the fact that they, a meta robots tag, you are relying on the fact that Google is going to honor that request. But I'm here to tell you that I have never once seen a website with no index, no follow that got indexed by Google. And I had an SEO specialist once try to tell me that he saw many examples of no index, no follow getting indexed by Google. And I, to this day, think that was bullshit and he could never prove it to me. So I stand by that statement. If you want to deploy, don't worry about people seeing it, especially if it's a brand new domain name, a brand new project, something that doesn't get traffic. Just deploy it, put in a no index, no follow, you will be fine. And then when you feel like your site is production ready, go ahead and delete the meta tag. All is good. Be brave, people. Be brave. So And Malik says, I definitely will. I'm planning to use it for my portfolio site and the pastry site. Good. And there's more to come, because what I haven't shown you today, which we can also do, is that you don't need one droplet per domain name. We can add multiple domain names to one droplet. It's called a virtual host, and that is way beyond what I could do in one session. So one moment, give me one moment here. Allergies. So future DevOps content is going to include adding additional domain names as virtual hosts. So there's more to come. That is just far too much for me to do in one day, though, and I think this is a good start. I just want to get people feeling comfortable with this part of the process, and then once you're comfortable with this, once you've done it a couple of times, you'll feel much more comfortable adding additional virtual hosts to a single droplet. So, okay, so we have no index, no follow. Now let's go ahead and rsync this up to the server. Okay, and I closed my files. Shoot, let me open them back up here again. Oopsies. And what I'm looking for is that rsync command. So let me grab it. And we'll edit it right here. So now we have a new path. We're not doing coming soon. You can see the path up here. It's called the nitpicks clone. So I'm gonna, this is the nitpicks clone, because we're syncing from our local environment to our remote environment. And what this should do is delete everything that's in the current remote environment and sync only what's in this directory. And this directory is right here. So we've got images, SVG, git ignore, index.html, license.md, normalize, readme, screenshot, script, and CSS. And I don't think that there is anything else here that I need to exclude. We're already excluding what we want to exclude. So if you had a SaaS project, or you were using less, or you had a compiler, maybe you were using Grunt or something like that, you would just want to take a look at what actually lives in your repository and decide, well, what actually needs to be on production. Configuration files like SCSS files, those things don't need to be on the production site. You definitely don't want any reference to Git on your production site. It's okay for those things to be on a staging site, but not on a production site. So I think this is all we need to do. So I hope I'm right. I'm relatively confident. But we know how that goes. And I am going to just cd into the root. And we'll rsync. All right. So now we can. So it used to be coming soon. Oh, what happened? Do we not have our CSS files? There we go. It just took a minute. It took a second to propagate. There we go. We have deployed our landing page to fiberandcraft.com. You guys, we did it. Let's take a look at our network tab. Whoa, what a day, huh? What a day. So here's all of our images. Oh, let's go to the all. So yeah, everything's loading just the way it should. Here's the root domain. Here's our headers, fiberandcraft.com, HTTPS. Here's the IP address on port 443. It's perfect. It's perfect. Beautiful. We did it. So we do have a couple things that we need to clean up here. So I'm not done yet. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. Okay, so our deployment works. Yay. So I'm going to keep this window open because when we're ready to deploy again, I'm just going to hit the up arrow and run this rsync command again. So I'm just going to tuck my window away here and we will deploy again in a moment. And I'm going to tuck this away. So what do we need to do here? I think we have a couple things left to do. I had some content that I was supposed to update last night and I didn't get to it because I was working on this stuff. But let's build, we need to put a container around this because this is technically not accessible. And then here's the thing. Our site is no index, no follow. I haven't had time to finish writing my little bits of content yet. So as long as it's no index, no follow, I don't care. I can get that done this week. But let's at least make this change and do one more deployment. So, Malik, tell me the CSS is not showing up for me. I will try again in a few. So this is DNS propagation. This is how this works sometimes. Sometimes you have to give the DNS, even when you know the domain name is pointing, you got to give it a minute to like propagate through the system and percolate through. So Malik, tell me when you are seeing the CSS. Let's go back here and I'm just gonna reposition this. Just like that. Okay. So let's just put a little container around this. And we may have to adjust some of our, I think we can just do it right here on the hero text wrap. Oh, you still can't see it. You still can't see the CSS? Okay, yeah, let me know. What's happening down in Florida, man? Okay, so the hero text wrap. Right here. We're going to add a background color. We could do black. And let's try 50% alpha transparency. And let's give this some padding. I'm going to give this 4 rems of padding. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to adjust some of the responsive styles. Oh, maybe not. That might actually be okay. We'll see. We can make adjustments. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with the black. I'm good with the black. And then we're also going to use an accessibility, the Waze, I think it's the Wave browser extension to test accessibility. And then I'm going to do a pseudo element to just do something. Make it somewhat decorative. So we'll do before content. You need the content property in order for these pseudo elements to work. I'm going to say display block, position absolute, which means this needs to be position relative. And then I'm going to say top 2 rems, left 2 rems, and then we're going to say width calc 100% minus 4 rems, which is the amount of padding. Same for the height. Calc 100% minus 4 rems. Then we're going to say border 2 pixels. Let's do dotted. And then what color should we make it? We'll try a couple different things. We'll try tan. I don't know how this is going to look. I love it. Let's make the dots a little bit bigger. How did I get that on the first try? I love it because the tan kind of matches the wood grain in the background. What do we think? I love it. So let's I think I'm going to make it a little darker. We could make the dots different based on the image. That seems like a lot of work though. I'm going to make that let's make this a little darker. Yeah. And this picture I'm going to replace. I don't love this picture, but I really like this picture. But yeah, I think this tan over the black works, but we don't have access. We can't click our button. So we just need to say pointer events none. There we go. Rizzy G is here. You missed the deployment. You might have to go back. You might have to go back and start the stream over again. We did a full of how much did we time do? I think we spent like a full 90 minutes working on deployment, and we're going to do it again. We're going to rsync here again in a second. But yeah, oh good. Florida is now recognizing the CSS. Good. So go back and watch, but also Rizzy G, there will be another video this week, like a more focused kind of edited video on deployment. So today was like our test run. You all were my test group for sorting out the deployment. So yeah, I'm going to replace this image. I have another image that I want to use, but this looks great. I'm totally happy with this. Now we can... And sometimes in Chrome, why does my pointer not change in Chrome? It's not me, it's them. I don't know why. Anybody else have that problem? Sometimes the pointer doesn't change. I don't know why. There it is. No. I don't know. It's just something I've noticed in Chrome. So, okay. So let's make sure that we didn't wreck all of our responsive styles. So there's a little bit of overlap there. Not too bad though. So I think what we should do is just reduce the padding, and that's going to help with the overlap. I'm not going to monkey with too much positioning. So where do we want to reduce that padding? I think we should reduce the padding at 1300, and that's going to help. So I'm going to do a new media query here. And we'll do this. We're just going to change the padding from 4 rems to 2 rems. And then we're going to we're just going to change these right here. So this will be 1, 1, and then this will be 2 and 2. And that just kind of tightens that up a little bit. So I think that's really going to help with. Yeah. Perfect. I really was not in the mood to like work on new styles for this banner. That looks great. All right. So now let's go ahead and deploy. So let's also make sure that we're updating Git, because this is 2 separate processes now, right? You are doing 2 things. You are updating Git. This doesn't need to be this big. You are keeping your Git repository up to date, but GitHub and your server are completely independent. You are not deploying from Git. You are pushing to Git, and then you are deploying to your remote server. So just keep that in mind. So let's update Git status, Git add, Git commit. So we did no index, no follow, and accessibility styles for the hero slider. And then we're going to git push origin main. All right. Now over here, we're going to run our rsync again, and we're going to redeploy. And it's only redeploying style.css because that is the only thing that changed. So now we can go to, what do we think? What do we think? Look at that. We did it. Yeah, this works. I like this. I still have not written content yet for my sliders, and I have a couple other little small pieces of content. But gosh dang it, Chrome, why aren't you doing pointers? But you can see here in our head, we have this meta tag, name robots, content, no index, no follow. So if you want to deploy, but you're worried that the world is going to look at your website, I promise you, there's too much traffic on the internet. Nobody's going to notice you until you actually start actively marketing your project. Just make sure that it doesn't get indexed by Google, and you will be able to safely deploy to your domain name with a no index, no follow. You should be fine. Let's see here. Yep, check the link. Hang on. Let me put it in for you. Sorry I didn't see that sooner. So this is our link. Good. I will have I know I already said this. I will have a more targeted, focused video this week. Oh, Malik put this in for us. Good. Thank you so much, Malik, for doing that. So, thank you. We did it. We did it together. It was amazing. I'll be waiting for the next project impatiently. Do you mean impatiently? Also, do you sometimes minify the codes before deploying? So yeah, that's kind of the thing about these static projects. Since I am using vanilla, no, I'm not minifying anything. And you're not wrong to point that out. So here's what I think, and some people may disagree. I think because it is a vanilla project, it is super clean, super simple. It's not Node. It doesn't rely on any other processes. I think that these little static sites, even if the JavaScript and the CSS is not minified, they still perform pretty darn well, especially if you're being incredibly thoughtful about your CSS. You understand inheritance, you understand cascade, you understand how to optimize your images. I think one of the things that really affects or impacts performance more than minifying CSS and JavaScript is people who don't optimize their images. I spend a lot of time optimizing my images, which reminds me we should put loading lazy on everything. That would probably be a great idea. But here, I spent a lot of time optimizing these images. So yeah, this one's pretty big, 523 right here. So this one in the slider is 523K. But these two are just under 200, 113. This is 195, 167, 82. So I spent a lot of time optimizing these images and making sure that I wasn't loading big, huge, heavy images. So, but you're not wrong to point out that I'm not minifying things. So yeah, images take a long time to load. I think that's a huge issue. But on a static website like this, I don't really worry about minification. I just don't. So, but on an enterprise website, yeah, you absolutely want to make sure those files are minified. And if you have leadership team that really pays a lot of attention to Google page speed, which mine did when I had my job at St. Thomas, absolutely want to make sure things are minified. But they were. So, oh, there are pointers working again. So, wow, what a day. We did it. So you definitely can look forward to more deployment and DevOps content from me in the future. Probably the next thing that we're going to tackle is adding virtual hosts so adding multiple domains to the same droplet. Which again, for these static sites, you shouldn't have to spin up a new droplet and spend another $6 every time you have one little static website. So, and hands down, the most complicated part of this, in my opinion, is the SSL and the redirects, and really understanding how to edit those virtual host files, which can be scary sometimes. But There's never been a better time to learn because number one, DigitalOcean has such good documentation. They also have really good, what am I thinking of? Forums. They have really good forums, but also, hello, ChatGPT is an excellent resource for some of this stuff. So, with that being said, I think that's it for today. And we did it like all within the time. If you haven't liked the stream yet, I would appreciate it if you would do so. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate it if you would do that as well. I'm here pretty much every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We do vanilla HTML and CSS. We just like to practice. Now I'm adding obviously a ton more deployment type content to my to the channel. And yeah, that's what you can expect to see. So with that being said, we have a new project that we're going to start next weekend too. I haven't exactly decided what the project is yet, so you're just going to have to tune in and find out. But we do have a brand new project starting next week. I will have this deployment, a dedicated deployment video up this week, and this project that we just spent the last 4 weeks on is also going to be a dedicated project video that will be out this week. So there's that. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, wherever you are. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We had a good crowd, and I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye.